Preparing for a cyclone, hurricane, or typhoon involves a mix of science, planning, and clear communication. Understanding these storms and using a systematic approach can help protect lives and property. Let's break down some key steps and considerations. First, it's important to know how these storms work. They are powerful systems fueled by warm ocean water and characterized by high winds, heavy rainfall, and storm surges. A scientific approach starts with monitoring weather reports and satellite data. This helps you understand the storm's path, speed, and intensity. For example, modern weather services use radar and satellite imagery to predict how and when a storm will make landfall. Why is this useful? Because it gives you a window of time to prepare, evacuate if necessary, or secure your home. Next, create an emergency plan. A good plan should include a safe location within your home or community shelter, a list of essential supplies, and communication methods for staying informed. In many regions, authorities provide guidelines based on scientific data and historical storm impacts. Stocking up on items like water, non-perishable food, medications, and batteries is crucial. Think of this like preparing a toolkit. Just as you wouldn't start a DIY project without the right tools, you shouldn't face a storm without the essentials. Another important step is securing your property. This means reinforcing windows, doors, and roofs to withstand high winds and clearing loose items from your yard that could become dangerous projectiles. Engineers often recommend using storm shutters or boarding up windows, which are proven methods to reduce wind damage. Have you checked if your home is up to date with these protections? Additionally, understanding storm surge, the rise in sea level during a storm, is key, especially for coastal areas. Coastal communities often use flood maps and historical data to predict which areas are at risk. By knowing your area's vulnerability, you can decide whether evacuation is necessary. This scientific data plays a vital role in making informed decisions. Finally, staying informed is essential. Reliable sources such as local weather services and emergency management agencies use advanced technology and historical records to provide updates. Many people also benefit from community alerts and mobile notifications that give real-time information during a storm. In summary, a scientific approach to preparing for a cyclone, hurricane, or typhoon means using weather forecasts, having a well-thought-out emergency plan, securing your property, understanding flood risks, and staying informed through trusted sources. By following these steps, you not only safeguard yourself and your loved ones, but also contribute to community resilience. How will you use these strategies to create a robust plan for your home and community? Tropical cyclones are intense storm systems characterized by strong winds, heavy rain, and storm surges formed over warm ocean waters. Their formation is driven by the evaporation of seawater and the release of latent heat, which fuels the storm's energy. Understanding their dynamics helps in predicting their behavior and potential impacts. This knowledge is crucial for preparing appropriate safety measures. For example, learning that cyclones derive strength from warm water informs why storms are more powerful during certain seasons. It's like understanding that a fire burns brighter with more oxygen. A deeper grasp of the fuel sources helps predict its intensity. Modern early warning systems use satellite imagery, radar, and advanced computer models to track storm development and forecast their paths. These systems measure parameters like wind speed, pressure, and temperature to predict when and where a storm will make landfall. The data is continuously updated to provide timely alerts for communities at risk. Early warnings allow for proactive preparations and reduce the risk of harm. For instance, a coastal area might receive automated alerts indicating that a cyclone is approaching, prompting residents to take shelter. It's like having a real-time traffic app that warns you of congestion ahead, allowing you to plan an alternative route. A scientific approach to structural preparedness involves reinforcing buildings, securing loose objects, and designing infrastructure to withstand high wind speeds and flooding. Communities assess risks based on historical data and current models to implement building codes and coastal defenses. This proactive planning minimizes damage and protects lives during severe storms. It also ensures that public facilities and utilities are resilient and can recover quickly after an event. For example, reinforcing roofs and windows can reduce the risk of structural collapse when strong winds hit. It's like fortifying a house before a storm. reinforcing critical parts to protect the entire structure. A comprehensive emergency plan involves creating strategies for evacuation, communication, and safety tailored to your household's needs. Scientific planning requires mapping out safe routes, establishing meeting points, and knowing where to find shelter. By evaluating potential hazards and resources, families can develop clear procedures to follow during a storm. This structured approach enhances preparedness and reduces panic when the cyclone arrives. For instance, a family might plan a designated safe meeting spot away from flood-prone areas and practice emergency drills. It's like preparing a fire drill at home. You know exactly where to go and what to do when an alarm sounds. Effective evacuation procedures are based on identifying safe routes that avoid flood-prone and high-risk areas during a storm. These procedures incorporate scientific data on storm surge, wind direction, and topography to ensure the safest possible exit routes. Planning an evacuation requires detailed mapping and communication with local authorities to understand potential hazards. A clear, practiced evacuation plan can save lives by reducing exposure to dangerous conditions. For example, communities may designate specific roads that remain open during high winds and floods, ensuring safe passage to higher ground. It's like planning an escape route from a building in case of fire. You know exactly which way to go to avoid danger. An emergency supply kit is a critical component of storm preparedness that includes essential items such as food, water, medical supplies, and communication tools. The scientific approach to building such a kit involves understanding the minimum survival needs during prolonged disruptions and the environmental conditions expected during a cyclone. It ensures that individuals are prepared to sustain themselves and communicate effectively, even if normal services are interrupted. A well-stocked kit supports resilience and recovery after the storm passes. For instance, a kit might include non-perishable food items, bottled water, first aid supplies, flashlights, and a battery-powered radio. It's like packing a travel bag for a long journey. Having all the essential items means you're prepared for unexpected delays or challenges. Effective communication during a storm relies on using multiple reliable methods, such as mobile alerts, battery-powered radios, and designated meeting points. Scientific planning for communication involves ensuring that messages are clear, timely, and accessible to all members of the community. Contingency plans may include alternative channels if primary systems fail due to extreme weather. These strategies are vital to coordinate evacuations, share real-time updates, and provide critical safety information. For example, a community might set up a network of emergency communication devices that automatically send updates to residents during the cyclone. It's like using a multi-channel walkie-talkie system during a group hike. If one device fails, others are there to keep everyone informed and connected. After a cyclone, safety measures focus on assessing structural damage, preventing further hazards such as flooding or fire, and restoring essential services. Scientific recovery planning involves evaluating the impact using data from sensors, satellite imagery, and on-ground assessments. Effective post-storm protocols help prioritize repairs, assist vulnerable populations, and restore normalcy quickly. These steps are crucial to reducing long-term impacts and ensuring community resilience. For instance, immediately after the storm, local teams might conduct inspections of critical infrastructure and coordinate cleanup efforts to prevent secondary damage. It's like cleaning up after a heavy rainstorm. Quick, systematic action helps prevent further damage and speeds up recovery. Each cyclone provides valuable data that can be used to refine future preparedness and response strategies. Analyzing past storm behaviors, response outcomes, and recovery processes allows scientists and communities to improve forecasting models and emergency plans. This continuous learning process integrates lessons from previous events to build more robust and adaptable systems. Over time, incorporating historical data leads to better risk management and improved public safety measures. For example, after a cyclone, communities may review what worked well and what didn't in their emergency response, and then update their plans accordingly. It's like reviewing the play-by-play of a sports game. By analyzing past performance, you learn how to adjust your strategy for better outcomes in the future.